Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guest here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Vivian Torres on the podcast. She's coming to us all the way from Costa Rica, our first Costa Rican on the podcast. So it's a pretty big deal. And, she's a physique competitor. And, yeah, she's on to, share a health and fitness story and, just talk all things about the sport. So, most importantly, she's our current guest. Vivian, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, I do got to ask, because I ask this to every guest, even though I know what the answer is going to be, what's the weather like today?
Well, the weather in Costa Rica is around 75 degrees. It's pretty warm. It's nice. It's sunny. And it's even a little windy, so you can feel the breeze. And it's a very tropical country.
Go outside and enjoy it. That's all I'm going to say is because, up here where it's, we're in the single digits here and it's just like, oh my God, this is never going to end. But I'm not going to stay too long on that because, I do not want to depress everyone because, yeah, I will just say again, go out and enjoy it. But before we get into all that, why don't you just first off give us your backstory and what sort of motivated you to become a bodybuilder?
All right. Well, I started 12 years ago. Actually, I used to be the cardio bunny before that, I was like, I want to be so skinny. That was like what I always wanted, right? It was like the skinnier the better. And I used to worry so much about, the skinnier I look, the better I look. So by the time I was like 28 or 29, I thought I was already going to a gym, but I wasn't like really into weights. I would do the routine, they want to give you at the gym, and it was just like, okay, I can do these machines. And I started training. I think my brother had a few friends that had a gym, and they were personal trainers. And he told me, why don't you go train with them one day? Are you sure what you do is working for you? And I was like, well, I feel skinny, so I'm good. But then when I started really training with them, it was like, whoa, I like this. And that's how it started. Just the first time I ever trained hard with a personal trainer and actually lift weights and feel the strength, and feel someone take me to my limits. And, I just fell in love with it, and I haven't stopped ever since.
That's awesome. When you were first getting started in the sport, there's so many myths about the sport that the general public tends to have just because they're so ill-informed. Did you have any concerns about the sport before getting into it, or were you one of those people who you just jumped right in and just said, hey, I just want to see what happens?
I just went right in. And ever since then, it was nonstop. And I had phases throughout the years. Like I even got into weightlifting at some point, but I never left bodybuilding. I even competed on CrossFit a few times, but I was also training bodybuilding. So that was crazy days because I used to train, bodybuilding in the morning. And I would go train CrossFit at nights, and I would go running and do cardio, and it was just crazy. My body was not taking it well.
I was going to say, how did it deal with that? Because, first of all, CrossFit and bodybuilding, that's two totally different workouts, and doing the cardio too. Good God, you must have at least got a good night's sleep those nights, though. God, I couldn't imagine you being not super tired.
I don't know how I did it. It was crazy, and it was not helping with physique. And that's what the CrossFit is not, I guess it doesn't help.
Yeah.
It just, not to me. There may be people that says it does fine, but it's not. You either are a bodybuilder, a CrossFitter, or a weightlifter,
I've had like a dozen guests that have said the same thing, and only one of them said that it benefited them. So it's just, yeah, it's not going to help. Yeah.
Didn't work for me. I was like, not for my category, not for what I wanted. It was just physique wise, it was not helping me. So I had to leave the weightlifting on to the side. It was fun. The adrenaline that gave me was fun.
Were you always a physique competitor, or did you start off in a lower division and move your way up?
No, I went straight to women's physique. Yeah.
And when you were getting started, I love to talk genetics on this podcast because so many people do not understand that, you can train just like someone, you can eat just like them, and you will not look like them. I hear it all these times, I want to have their abs, I want to have their back, and it's just like, first, you're not going to be able to achieve. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. But when you first get started working out, everyone always has that one body part that really, really takes off that they don't have to train as much, and they have that one body part that just drags behind it. They have to train into oblivion. What were those body parts for you? What was one that really took off, and then what was one that really dragged behind?
I do think that with me, that's what motivated me so much because my results were like so, like my body responded so well, with the, I kept seeing the muscle tone and growth and my legs. I think genetics do have a lot to do with it because throughout the years, I've heard people saying like, "Oh, there's no way that she gets like that just by working out." I mean, yes, it is. I mean, and I do it right. It's not just that I go to the gym. I have a lot of sacrifices, and I've sacrificed so much because of this sport and friends, social life. There's so many things behind it. People only see the results, and but they don't see all the things that are behind it. So many other things that go along with it and sacrifices, big things. But yeah, genetics definitely, that's what motivated me so much because my body really responded well, and I was just like, whoa, you look at my arms, and my back. There's certain parts of my body, like I see how well, like my upper body, my quads, and all
I
that
was gonna
stuff.
say her biceps are still like super, super like vascular even right now as we're talking. And it's post show, so yeah.
And I'm usually like this. And before I decided to compete, I was I didn't start this for competition. I just did it for a hobby. I'm actually a human resources manager for a software development company. So I mean, I do have my job, and this is just a hobby. And I never started doing this for competitions to go to shows, but within one day, I thought, hey, I should do it. People will always tell me, why don't you compete? Like, you should be on the stage. And I was like, well, I don't do this for a competition. So one day I was like, I'm just going to do it.
And working a job where you're normally sitting down a lot, and that's a job that I do as well. How do you balance that with living a really healthy and fit lifestyle? Because so many people that work those type of jobs, they don't get their the amount of working out that they really need to get out of their day just because they're just stuck in a job where they are forced to sort of sit down for a lot. Do you do anything to sort of help balance sort of the fact that like you are sitting down for a quality amount of time?
Well, I mean, I do get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I do my cardio. I train sometimes at 4:30, 5 a.m. I make sure I have to get to work, do the job, and I just have to find the time. When you're passionate about something, you just have the time somehow. You find it. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I'm a single mom, so I have to be so organized. I have to make sure that everything is, I mean, my meal prep is done, my times are exactly, when it has to be. And
How important is it for you to also have that positive image though too that you can also portray for your daughter, like knowing like you can be healthy and you can be in shape, at any point in your life? Has that really serve as a big motivation for you too to just be that positive role model?
yeah, and I can see her do things that and eat, like I don't tell her you have to eat this. If she wants to eat ice cream, whatever she wants to eat, I let her eat. But like when she takes the snacks to school, I see she chooses things like cucumbers and cherry tomatoes and things like that. And it's funny because I'm like, okay, I didn't didn't have anything to do with that. But she's like, she sees me and she loves it, and she have because of the pandemic, did buy a lot of the equipment. So you'll see her there messing around with the weights. So
How did you adjust? Yeah, to like the pandemic where you had to do a lot more at home workouts. Do you find that it was easier for you to work out or was it harder for you?
it wasn't hard at the beginning. It was because I didn't have a lot of stuff, but then once I got good weight dumbbells and the Olympic bar and all that, it was like, okay, I can do this. And just you get you it's not the same, you don't have the same weights and all that, but yeah, I mean, I did good workouts. I feel like I was doing what I could. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, the nutrition aspect of the sport is something that's not talked about as much as it should be because I mean, like abs are made in the kitchen. Nutrition is such a big part of this lifestyle. What were some of the big nutritional changes that you've made over the years as you've gotten more and more into this sport?
Yeah, a lot of changes. And Um, I pretty much eat the same every day. Um, I don't eat things like crackers, cookies, like even the cereal bars, all that kind of stuff that they give you on a diet sometimes. That's out. I eat like my meals are like real meal a day. Like every meal is rice, meat, and vegetables. Even like in the mid morning snack, I eat 120 grams of chicken, broccoli, and rice at 9 a.m. I have six egg whites in the morning with rice and avocado or tomatoes, and then all my meals are real meals, and that's all I eat. I don't eat like little snacks or nut fruits or nothing like that. So it changed a whole lot. So yeah, it has changed. I remember when I started, it was a regular diet, nutrition. When I decided to keep going, because this is literally what the nutritionist told me. Um, this is all I can do for you. I don't know what else you want. And I was like, oh, well, I don't have a limit. I need to keep going. And she literally told me, like, well, you need to find a prep coach to, for that's another level. You have to, because you have to be in the set your mind that you're going to make this change. It's another step. It's another type of diet, another type of nutrition. I was like, okay, let's do it. So I did it. I found me the prep coach. And even though I was not looking to compete, but that was like my next step. Just go to switch my diet. So it's a big change. Definitely a big change when I changed that diet.
What's your go-to cheat meal?
You won't believe it. It's like cereal or something like that. And the funny thing is, like, whenever I get a cheat meal, I'm like, I just want peanut butter out of the jar, or I just want like Fruit Loops or Lucky Charms. And it's funny because like they tell me no, you have to eat like a big burger and fries or pizza, and then I look at that stuff and I'm thinking, if I eat that, I'm gonna get tore up. My stomach is I'm gonna be so sick. So it doesn't, like, I don't even like crave it. I crave a lot of like chips and crunchy stuff, like stuff like that, but it's not like pizza. Some people crave pizza and burgers. I don't. It's just not. I like snack stuff like cheeses and hams and stuff like that.
Believe me,
Mhm.
you're not the first guest to say that they just want to have just plain peanut butter. I mean, that's been one of our more common answers. So yeah, that's not out of the ordinary. And I if I went through a diet like you guys do, I think I might, be craving, the same exact thing. But I mean, this is so much more of a mental sport than it is a physical sport. I mean, the mental change that occurs and just the dedication that the sport requires, that mental change is, 100 times more important than any of the physical changes. And unfortunately, like the general public, they're only going to notice the physical change because it's the change that they can see. But what has this journey been like for you mentally?
Um, I think mentally, I just always just had my mindset to it. I don't feel like I went through a change. I think it's just like I think I just switched to it like instantaneously when I fell in love with the sport. I don't think I don't see it like mentally I had to struggle to stay on it. I think it's just something that I just love. It's just I'm so passionate about that I just, like I said, I have no limit. Just so I don't think that I had to like convince my mind so much. Like you've seen that quote, like you gotta convince your mind. It's like no, I'm like convinced I like it. So mhm.
So, I mean, you mentioned before that there are a lot of things that the general public does not understand about this sport and that it gets wrong. What would you say is probably the biggest thing that you hear of all the time that the general public gets wrong about the sport of bodybuilding?
Yeah, I mean, you hear so many people saying, uh, you just that's all you do. You just live for the gym, and it's like, no. I mean, it's just this is what I like, and it takes a lot of sacrifices. Something that I know, um, the closest people to me. I don't have a huge group of friends, and that happens a lot in this sport. Is your social life becomes like tiny. But even going on a date before, I've been on dates where they're like, "Why don't you eat something else?" And I'm here thinking, uh, "We're not gonna ever." This is probably the first and last one day because they're like start complaining because I'm drinking water. I don't want a cup of wine, or you know, if I'm in preparation and I'm out with friends and they understand why I only have a cup of water and a cup of coffee and they can be understandable, I'm fine with it. But going with out with people and criticizing it, I mean, they don't know what all that is going on, or you know. So it's just there's so many things that you hear people, oh, the girl with muscles, and um, there's just so many things you get. I like you walk outside and you can see people always just staring and
Has it gotten easier for you to get used to that? Because, yeah, I do compare it to sort of like being a mini celebrity where it's like you are gonna draw people's attention just because it's not something that's of the normal that then they'll just be like, "Oh, wow, that's fascinating." Has that gotten easier for you to adjust to that as your journey into the sport has gone on?
yeah. And I remember I had a trainer 5 years ago, and he used to tell me, "You have to learn how to not let that bother you. You are someone that walks into the store, and even if I got out the gym and I have to go to a grocery store, I'm wearing gym clothes, maybe shorts and top, and people stares, and he's like, you always have to remember that they are gonna stare. You're someone that takes you know people's attention. So yeah, I learned how to do it. I go anywhere, I can see, I can feel people. I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like I got muscles. Yes, I know. And I'm a girl. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I have the utmost respect for that because, yeah, it is hard for so many people. But posing is one thing that I love to talk about on this podcast as well because it is the hardest thing for so many of the competitors that I have on. Most people do not understand that. What has your journey with posing been like?
posing,
Yeah.
that was like horrible. It was like totally when I first went to my posing coach and she started showing me, I was like, this is like literally out of my comfort zone. Like how do you how do you I know I look like a robot. I was like, this is crazy. This is harder than working out and then doing the diet altogether. But I did have to go through a lot of practice, and I still feel like there's a lot, that I need to do better. Like when the last competition I did, and I watched the videos, I was like, oh God, I knew that I was supposed to do that, and I did it wrong. So it's so hard. It's absolutely so hard.
Out of your physique poses that you do, what is your favorite pose and what is your least favorite pose?
I love the uh, back double bicep, and I think my least favorite is the abs. The is because I can never get it right, and sometimes when we're practicing, like there, you got it, and then when I'm supposed to do it, it's like I never got it.
Yeah, it's such an awkward pose too. It's like it's hard to make that look like fluid and make it look like it's part of the routine. So I think they definitely need to, change up, something with that. But one thing that like you talk about too is that like it's harder than a lot of your workouts too, just to maintain sort of that posing. How long before you really felt that you sort of developed that stamina to be able to hold those poses? Because most people just the holding of the poses is the hardest thing for them.
It's so hard, yeah. And when I practice the poses and I'm with the posing coach, I mean, she makes me stay there like pretty good 10, 15 seconds because we don't know how long they make you stay or they tell you to switch. So, I mean, that was the hardest part to, I mean, I'm there posing and I'm there sweating. It's just like when I finish posing, I'm like, I think this should count like a workout, literally. So,
Yeah, it takes a lot of, time and effort. And what was that like that first time that you walked up on stage and just sort of realized what the sport's all about?
okay, so the first time I thought this is gonna be crazy because I'm so shy. This is so not me, not being here. Why am I here? That was my whole thought. Like, why am I doing this? I just do this for fun, not for competition. In my first competition, I won, right, first place. So it was like wow. But when I went to, I thought before, right before, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna like do it all wrong. Once I got to stage, it's like something happened. I was like, this is my minute. It's like, and I didn't get shy. I know I was probably a little nervous, and I not my choreography because my category you have to do a routine choreography. So I did it a little bit too fast. I didn't mess it up, but I was going way too fast. But the posing was good, and I felt good being there. And I was like, I've been preparing for this for years, even though I was not ever thinking about competing. But if we talk about when I started doing it, it's like, yeah, I started 12 years ago doing this, and I get 1 minute to just show. So I didn't get nervous. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I actually did. I thought it was like gonna be bad, but it wasn't.
Has it gotten easier for you as your, career's gone on to go up on that stage? Because like you said, as a very shy person, was it something that after a couple times you're just like, "Oh, I can just do this, no problem?"
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I've only done two, and I'm planning on competing 2 times this year. So I'm excited about it because now I have more confidence on the stage. I never worry about the physique. I know like the physique was good, but I was like, the posing is just gonna give me less points if I don't do it right. So it was good, and I think now that I've done it a couple times, it's next time I'm planning on going into the Latin American Championship. So that's gonna be my big one.
Is there that much of a female bodybuilding presence in Costa Rica, or is there just a handful of them? What's the sport sort of like in Costa Rica?
I mean, they we do have like we do have over 4 shows that go on here, and a lot of the bodybuilders here, once they compete here 3 or 4 times, they travel to the Miami Grand Prix, to the Latin American Championships, to the so we do have a big set of people that once they compete here a couple times, they look to go out of the country or.
Yeah, and I mean it's great that there's a presence there, but I mean outside of these shows, post show is just something that most people don't talk about, and it's such an important part because like you're not going to be able to maintain that shape that you put on stage 24/7. I mean, it's just unfortunately that's not the case. And has it gotten easier for you to sort of accept that fact that like, hey, I'm not going to look like I did, when I was standing on that stage? Has it gotten easier for you to accept that, as you've done, your second show?
It's hard because you look at yourself right before you or that whole week right before is like wow, and then within 2 weeks that's it. you it's gone. And yeah, it's hard because you're not gonna look like that always. But then I guess that's part of what gets you eager to compete again because you want to see yourself there again. Yeah.
Well, and it's just like starting your own business too. We got to spend money to make money. You have to put on weight if you want to put on muscle. Unfortunately, those two do go hand in hand. But I mean, cardio is the one thing that I hate more than life itself. And when I say cardio, I mean like actual running. Like I can walk for forever, but unfortunately, when you do become a bodybuilder, you sort of sign a deal with the devil when it comes to cardio. What is your relationship like with cardio?
Jeez. I like enjoy it when I go out and run, but don't get me on a treadmill and that's the bad thing. You have to do the fasted cardio when you're in prep or not even now. I have to try to do at least 3 or 4 times fasted cardio during the days and it's gotta be really early in the morning. So I get to do it stuck at home. So I hate that. Like I wish I could do it at least outdoors. So I've learned not to like it, but I learned to just do it. you know. So
Well, I mean, like, especially with sleep too, because like you mentioned, you get up at 4 a.m. What is what is your relationship like with sleep even? Because I mean, that's something that is so important in this lifestyle that isn't talked about too. Is I mean, if you don't get that proper amount of sleep, it's almost impossible to get a good workout in.
exactly, yeah, no, well, I always have a goal, and my goal is 9. I don't ever do it, but I get what I get. I mean, it's just so much to do, with my job and my daughter, and meal prepping and getting everything ready for the next day. Because if I don't have the things ready, I can do this. You have to have everything ready, and you have to weigh in your food. You have just so many things that go along with it.
Yeah, time management is probably the most important thing. And do you have any tips for people who are looking on how to balance their time like that? Because I know, like, even me looking at all the stuff that you have to deal with, I'd be like, okay, I would never be able to accomplish that.
Well, I mean, what's worked for me and my advice is you just have to very organized and have the schedules, times when to do things. I know when, like, on Sundays I weigh my food until Wednesday, and so it means but it has to be done. If I don't do it, I feel like my whole life is turning apart. So yeah, you have to follow on the schedule. You have to know in advance what days you're gonna do cardio, what days you're gonna work out, and the times. That's the only way I can do it. Is just having a really strict schedule. So I know my daughter goes to school from this time to this time, so I have to stick my workout between this time and this time. So my advice is, if you really want this, you have to be organized. Try to get up early. I mean, the day only has so many hours a day, and you can do it. And you'll see that if you really want it, it's not. It doesn't become like a sacrifice. It's like you could get up and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I got goals, and I want this. So it's just
What is one body part that you're looking to improve on the most this off season?
um probably glutes, but and what else? I'm working a lot like on my leg, but like the back part of it, that how some
Hamstrings,
have like the hamstrings, but also that
quads.
no quads. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
But yeah, like the hamstrings and the glute, that area. I think that's where I'm focusing the most. I'm actually training 3 days, leg day, but because I'm doing it parts by part, we're working on doing just certain parts, certain days, so I can get there.
And what are you training for biceps? Because I mean, they're just absolutely popping, and you have really great arms. What does an arm workout look like for you? Good God.
It's not even. I don't even like spend much on biceps. Like literally, my upper body has always like responded so well. Like I train biceps once a week, and I always do it with triceps. So it's always like a trust series of each, and that's it.
Jeez.
That's all I do for biceps. I do like, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 exercises of tris and bis, and that's the arms workout. I do it together.
Well,
Only one.
let's see the guns. Give us a flex. Let's see. Good good God. Yeah, that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I
Yep.
only do one day a week.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, that's motivating me then to go and work out, even more now. So that's great. But I mean, yeah, especially, living this lifestyle too, that's, what what was your friends and family's reaction like when you first announced to them that you wanted to get into this sport? Because it's not really something that a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I never actually announced it. I just, I just when I started training, I just didn't never stop, and I think they just went along with. It. Yeah, I know there's people that maybe don't see me or haven't seen me in a while, and when they see me, it's like, wow, or like they start following me. It's like, oh, I haven't seen you in years. When did you become a bodybuilder? And I was like, yeah, I used to be really skinny. They remember me when I was like really skinny, years ago. Or yeah, but yeah, it was never like I never really talked to anybody like this is what I want to do. It just kind of happened, just never stopped when I started it.
Hey, that's great as well. And I mean, this is, like I said, it's a sport that it requires so much dedication. Where do you think that you get that dedication and that sort of attitude from? Because I think it takes a really special person to be able to do this lifestyle.
Where do I take it from? I think I've had a lot of through I had experiences in life that were not really good. Things that I had to go through, and I think that was part that drove me to the sport. It was I maybe became kind of like my therapy. Yeah, so I did have some rough experiences that I went through, and I don't know. I think I just dived in into this, and it just became me. But I think that's where it started going through some things in life, you know, and I'm thankful. I'm
Oh,
grateful.
absolutely. And I mean, like on those days when you don't feel like working out, because everyone has those. And if you tell me you don't, I mean, let's be honest, everyone has those. Where do you find that extra added sort of oomph to go to the gym and still work out? Because that's what I think differentiates, bodybuilders from the general public is that the general public will make all these excuses of like, oh yeah, I can't work out, I'll just take the day off, and then that, spirals into like, oh, I'll just take the week off. But where do you find that extra added push to just go to the gym when your body and your mind is telling you like, hey, let's just take it easy?
Yeah, you're right. Motivation doesn't get you there. Yeah, there's days I'm definitely not motivated. I'm not in the mood, but it's just that thing in my head. You have to do it because this is what you are. That's what I tell myself. I mean, I'm not motivated today. I don't feel like it, and it happens a lot. I mean, believe it or not. But once you get there, that's it. It's gone. But you just getting there. Sometimes it's not easy, and when people talks about motivation, you gotta no, sometimes motivation is not what you need. I mean, you just gotta tell yourself, I mean, you really want this. That's what I do. Is like, you want this, you work for this for so long, you have to do it because it's part of me. I'm not sure like how I made myself, but it's just that's what I tell myself. This is what you are. I'm a bodybuilder, and this is what I have to do. You have to maintain it like that. This is part of it. Just.
I mean, with working in software, how do you deal with being on prep brain too? Because software, that seems to be a job where you sort of have to know what you're doing at all times. And when you're on prep brain, your mind can get a little foggy at times. You just take time off of work, or how do you deal with that? Where it's like there are going to be days where you're just not going to be there mentally.
It happens, but I'm a HR manager for a software development company, so I do work with software engineers, um, and so my job is a lot talk to the employees, dealing with their issues, so many things, recruiting. I have to interview candidates constantly, and no, I can't take time off. I have to be there. I don't. Somehow, I just have to train my mind.
Do you just tell them, hey, I'm feeling a little slow today, so if I if I seem not all there, I'm just in prep right now.
Exactly. Sometimes I do like, I know like people is, ask a lot of questions, say Vivian and vacations and I need a certification, I need this. They always need something. and and sometimes I'm just like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll get it to you. So I do have days where I know I have to like try to like, you know, slow down, but I have to be there. But yeah, there are days that you kind of stay in the shadow, like, okay, nobody's talking to me. I'm just gonna mind my business. Or
If there was one thing that you could change about this lifestyle or just the sport of bodybuilding in general, and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
to change, um, maybe the way. Well, that's not a change of the sport, but I would love that society and other people who see this sport and admire it more. than just see it as you, muscles or those guys, they look so big, and you hear so many things, and it would be nice that they would acknowledge what sacrifices there is to be there. I mean, it's art. I mean, you shaping the body to look like that. It's not easy. It's not like just you just go and get on a machine and that's it. No, it's not. You know, it takes a lot. So yeah, I would like to see a change in society about the sport, and maybe support it more and understand more what it takes. But
I mean, I think it's slowly getting there. I think like the last couple of years, yeah, it's been getting a little bit more and more. So we'll see, we'll see where it's at. But what advice do you have for someone who's just getting started in bodybuilding and just wants to, just get their foot in?
oh, I'd say, just keep pushing it. I mean, you don't worry about what people say. Don't worry about anything. Just keep going. Keep it up. And don't get discouraged. Changes doesn't happen overnight. Like definitely, that's one big thing. Do not get discouraged. We all started there. I was I was not this. It's been 12 years to look like this. So yeah, definitely don't get discouraged. I mean, keep going. You'll get there.
I mean, especially with the younger generation where everyone wants everything now and they want it yesterday. It's like this is not the lifestyle to get into then if you want that, because yeah, it does, it takes a long time, but it just shows, that the hard work and dedication when you finally, do start to see those changes, and it's very, very beneficial. And I mean, with the just with the all the working out and just the constant wear and tear that you get in your body, are you one of those people that likes to do like the whole massage thing or stuff like that? Because it's like half and half for some people. Some people don't like it, some people do like it. Do you try to get like those like deep tissue stuff? Because I've seen some of those photos at the end of those where like their back looks like, they just got like a chair broken over it basically. But do you ever do any of that to sort of rest and recover?
Yes, I go once or twice a month and get all the recovery done. I need it a lot. So it's very important. This sport really takes a lot of everything. It takes you have to have like a mindset of what it takes to be like this. So yeah, I do twice a month or sometimes just once a month. Depends if I'm like about to compete. Sometimes I go twice because you gotta get different things done. But yeah, at least once a month, I'm there with my muscle therapist.
Which, I mean, you got, yeah, I mean, most people, they really do. Because I mean, like the amount of working out that you do, yeah, you really need to sort of just get it recuperated. But out of the everything that you've experienced in this sport, what has been the one thing about bodybuilding that has surprised you the most?
I said one thing that surprised me the most. I think when you do the changes on your diet, how your body responds it. When they tell me, okay, we're gonna eat more carbs from the heat here to them because we want to do this, and it happens. The body reacts to it. Or when you cut the carbs, that's just so amazing how your body, you know, reacts or changes your diet. Even drinking water, you drink more or less water, it changes everything. It's a game changer. Whatever you throw to your body, if you're like about to compete and you eat the wrong thing, it's like you ruin it. So
Well, first of
yes,
all, you become like a human faucet too, anyways, because like you're always going to be going to the bathroom. Then you just drink so much water, so that's another thing too that you really got to be aware of, when you're doing this sport. But yeah, there's just like you said, there's so many little things that people just aren't aware of. That's why I like doing this podcast, because it helps spread awareness of like, hey, this is the stuff that like goes on too as well. It's not just working out and going on stage and posing. I mean, there's so much more to this lifestyle than that. So.
totally. So much more. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I mean, I'd love to have you on a year from now and sort of give us an update on what you've been up to since then. Where would you like to be at just in your bodybuilding journey? Where would you like to be at just in your overall life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved when we have you on a year from today?
Um, I I think I'm gonna continue always. I would like do a couple more shows like I mentioned. I think I'm gonna do another in national here and try to do one out and maybe I'll get a pro card. Why not? Yes. And but yeah, I think as of me, I don't see myself not doing this, not having this life. I don't see myself just leaving it one day. It's just I feel like this is just who I am. So I think my journey will continue. Um, I don't. I like where I'm at, like category wise, physique wise. I don't want to move from this category or the physique I have. I want to improve what I have, but um, not you know move to another or get bigger or nothing. Just like keep improving how I am. Mhm.
Absolutely. And is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
Yes, I wasn't prepared for that, but that maybe all my coaches, they are the best. They have believed in me, and you know, they are there always. I'm always like, oh my god, complaining or what do I do? So yeah, it would be. I'm gonna name it. So my prep coach is Christian Lanusa. My trainer is called Christian Villalobos, and posing coach Laurita Sanchez. And then my therapist is called Beto, and I love them all. And they're my team.
That's why I tell people, like, yeah, you need to find a good coach if you want to get started in this sport. I mean, that makes the biggest difference in the world. So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to find that. And again, you guys, I mean, everyone, go and check out Vivian on her Instagram page. I'll leave a link to it down below. And again, Vivian, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I mean, absolute delight to have you on, and I'm glad that you're doing this sport. And I can't wait to see where you're at next year when we have you back on.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, and thank you. This is the first time I shared my journey, so that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, you guys, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.